Hello, I am Mindaugas, architect and urban planner from Vilnius. Okay.
Aha. It's patience. Tagad ir laiks rakstīt. Now you could write something, you know.
Look, so maybe I can start. Firstly, when I heard the name of the conference, Shining Microdistricts, I thought, why shiny? If I am shiny, am I better educated? I am more clever? And this is about the city as well. City does not have to be shiny. It has to be livable. It has to be attractive. It has to be integrating. So I think that not just making shiny, but making livable is the major issue. I often start my presentations about Vilnius from this scheme, showing that actually we have three cities in the city. We have central part, which is Vilnius. We have middle part, which is Soviet districts. And then we have surrounding areas where our families are creating their paradises in single-family houses. So if I go to any other city in Eastern Europe, we see the same. Just here is the things which we put in our postcards. And this, I can change them, and nobody will understand where is Riga and where is Vilnius. The same here. The biggest problem is that in Vilnius, the major population lives here, still in the principles of social realism. And I think it's one of the biggest challenges we have at all in this part of the world. So we are used to have some typology of open spaces in the city. So we have public open spaces like streets, squares, public gardens, parks. We have communal courtyards belonging to the community living in the house or in the neighborhood, and we have private courtyards. And then we come here, what kind of space it is? Is it a yard? No, it isn't a yard. Is it a public garden? No, it isn't. Is it a square? Actually, we cannot characterize the space with any category known for us from urbanistic point of view. And it's not just happened. It was done on purpose. Because when we see these big guys, Corbusier, Walter Gropius, and others speaking about the rebuilding of first in Berlin in 1957, they were speaking about loosened and structured city, flowing open green spaces. So it was the idea to free city from this typical kind of urban spaces which were known for the people living in the cities. Everybody has to be, so it should be just a green field, white houses, and nice families living in those white houses. And no spaces which were common and used for, let's say, last 6,000 of years of building the cities. And I think this was one of the biggest failures of modernism. And already in '87, in West Berlin happened another building exhibition where a lot of famous architects come back to normal building of the cities. And actually, they start to build corner house, perimetric house, even the city tower were built that way, which were common to normal city structure. So this way, new urbanism was born. The thing which I still think is like a tragedy that they started there to do it in '80s, and we were still building these microdistricts. Our norms and our laws are still designed for those microdistricts. So we should continue building the microdistricts if we do everything up to our legislation, which is in Lithuania, and I think so also in Latvia. And I think that, I think that Also, our kids, which are now studying architecture, are still educated by the laws of modernism and less by the laws of new urbanism, which is actually historic urbanism. So what do people do? We noticed that although the city of Vilnius is growing, the population is leaving those microdistricts. So we had about 47,000 inhabitants which left microdistricts, and we had population growth in the city center and population growth in outskirts areas. And I left microdistricts. I thought, why? Because I want to raise my kids in safer and more controlled environment. The same my friends. And now we meet or in the city center or outskirts of the city. We see that our microdistricts are aging. Red color is a more old population, green color, younger population. So actually it's the oldest part of the city. They also are getting worse from social point of view. So people there are less educated as in the city center and outskirts. And they have different political preferences, which is very interesting. So on the last mayor elections, the guys living in Soviet microdistricts voted for the mayor, which said that you don't have to worry, I do everything to make you happy. Although others living in more normal city were voting for the guy who said, I'll help you to solve your problems, but I will not be solving them. So actually, this shows that living in certain urban conditions makes also life and understanding of life of the people different. I would say that modernistic planning is the key problem of major of our cities. And we can easily do houses better. We are architects, we know how to do it. We can increase accessibility and privacy. We can add elevators. We can enlarge the flats doing balconies and even get Miss Van der Rohe prize for that. But I would say that changing the urban typology is the major challenge for that areas. So if we compare modernistic planning and let's say normal planning, we see that modernistic planning is actually lacking network of public spaces, network of streets. We have highways, which have too much traffic to make street perimeter attractive, and then we have other streets where buildings are away from the street, from perimetric line of the street, from the pedestrian path, where there is not enough capacity or not enough people flow just to make public life there. So modernistic planning is highways and dead ends, not a network. This makes public life there much harder possible as in normal so-called more historic urban structure. So what we tried in Vilnius, we find out that actually rational walkable block is 100 meters by 100 meters, and we tried to just divide one block into something like that. We found that it's possible to make a street, and it's possible to make a square, and it's possible to do some parks. And we went to inhabitants and asked, what do you think about that? Of course, the major inhabitants said that, just go away. Just do nothing. We need more parking places, so put more asphalt, and then it will be good. Another part of the population said, it was the younger population, saying that, wow, it's an area close to the center. This is not a safe environment, so if we have our privacy in our yards, it would be better for us. So we saw just two types of population, which had completely different understanding of quality and standard of life. We did the same thing in other district of Vilnius, in Šeškinė, where we found that it's possible to divide these areas with like streets, red color, and pedestrian paths, yellow color. And we tried to do this in on one area, just here, to make like a bike street here. And the result was great. People started to use it as a street. They bike there, they walk there, they sit there, they sit and watch what is going on the street. It's a street life which came into the middle of such a microdistrict. So I think that is kind of possibility to make them more city-like and less microdistrict-like. So we developed such a model for transformation that we have, let's say, greeneries, we have like a streets, we have social infrastructure, we have services, and this is like a city blocks. And communities living in those city blocks, they should take care about that city block. They could decide themselves what they do. That was the plan. Of course, it needs time to be realized. It needs time to be implemented. But this was the way we were trying to think how to restructure the areas. And this way we were going for last, let's say, 4 years. And the biggest hope is that some of microdistricts start to get younger. Lazdynai, Karoliniškės, younger population start to move in. So with this younger population, the destiny of the microdistrict could be changed because they bring new style of life and they think a little bit different as my generation or my parent generation were thinking. And they can be this social force which will inspire the changing of the districts. Our first try to do new urbanism in Vilnius was in Paupys district. We were very afraid doing that. But the real estate prices just doubled in some years. People liked that. So it says that we are not different from all over the world and people like living in the streets but having some privacy. So I would say that at the moment, microdistricts are shrinking. They are losing population, getting worse and worse. They should be transported into livable parts of the city. That's the major task we should solve, the major thing we should do. And at the moment, I see that we are doing the same principles all over the world, starting from Japan, going to Riga or Tallinn. So thanks a lot for your attention.
Mieliski.